Welcome back to Alice Fish Tales. I'm over here playing with my reef tank and I just got the word something really important has arrived. So I'm gonna go pick it up now and we'll bring it inside and take a look. Guys, I wasn't really sure what to do with my tiny pond waterfall, but now I think I have what will hopefully be a complete game changer when it comes to the outdoor pond. Now that the cat's out of the bag, guys, we're gonna take a little trip down memory lane and head outside just for a second and take a look at the old pond and the old waterfall system that I put in. Remember, this system was something that I kind of pieced together. This new system is an entire kit, but let's go outside and take a look at the pond and see the current state of it, because it's definitely cycled, but maybe too cycled, and we're gonna try to fix that. All right, now guys, it has been probably a couple months since I made the video on hand digging this pond. Now we know that in the middle down there, it goes down to about 3 feet deep. And I did have an issue with this where the pond liner actually raised up and I was going to put in a French drain. However, I ended up adding some rocks and that actually solved the problem. Now these rocks aren't where they're gonna go for good. These rocks are just in here temporarily to help hold the liner down. Now, you may or may not be able to see that this thing is actually teeming with life now. There's water bugs, there's algae, all kinds of good biology going on in here. And that's great to see. But at the moment, even with the 2 umbrellas, the algae in here is out of control. So I'm going to have to upgrade the filtration system. And I'll probably try to build some kind of custom bucket design or something that can hold more media. So let's take a quick look at the current waterfall and media setup. Now we have a hard koi pad underneath this and then followed up by filter floss and then a bag of bio balls. Now this worked great temporarily, but after mowing the lawn, you can see some grass clippings got in here and just way too much for this to be able to handle the load. Now I'm not saying that the new waterfall system is going to be able to take care of it. I knew I was gonna have to upgrade the waterfall anyway because this one is just a little bit too small for how I plan on building this pond in the future. I really wanted it to run long ways across here, and the new one should accomplish that just fine. Now, the old pump is pumping tons of water. So how we're gonna go about changing this time is I'm gonna drain some of the water down by just simply turning that around and allowing it to pump some water out. And that's gonna help reduce a lot of the nutrients that are in here. The second thing I'm gonna do is actually take some rocks, and I have more, and I'm gonna build them up along there and try to build what will hopefully be a wetland area where I can maybe put some plants and stuff back there. And it might be a good area for fish to hide in, depending on how much water decides to stay in there and how accessible it'll actually be to the fish. The third thing I've gotta do is, much like this one, I'm gonna have to build some kind of custom stand for now until we can get the deck built around here. And then the fourth and final thing I've got to do is just install it and take out the old pump. So let's go ahead and go back inside now and take a look at what actually comes in this new waterfall kit. So let's go over what actually comes in here. So you can actually see the waterfall itself there with the metal threaded insert. Now this thing, unlike my other one, it's actually metal. It feels like aluminum. And check this out. I actually didn't realize this. There's an LED strip in there and there's some suction cups in there. Here we've got the pump, which also looks like it has a hookup for the light. We've got 2 filters. Now these usually fit over some kind of intake fitting. Now this also comes with thread tape, adhesive, and your band clamp to mount to your pump and your waterfall. This is just gonna make things so much faster. If you're doing your waterfall yourself, I mean, this is like a no-brainer. Lastly, we've got our black hose. Now I wish that I would have went with black instead of clear. And so I'm thankful this one came with a black one, because the clear one for some reason stands out more, I guess because the liner is kind of black. So this is perfect. This is definitely what I would prefer now. And here you can see we have very clear instructions on how to assemble this, and they've got tons of customer service info. Now this is the POPOSOAP brand. You can see it there. Guys, if you decide after you see this video that you like this kit and you want one, I'm gonna link it down below, along with everything else that I use in all of my fish tank videos. And if you want to buy it, it gives me a couple cents and I would appreciate it. It helps me support what shouldn't be, but ultimately becomes a very expensive hobby. This is this spillway. And look, with one hand I was able to assemble it. It just slides right on there. Let's talk about the size of this, because I'm gonna go ahead and measure it before I go out and start cutting. So according to the assembly notes, this thing is 23.62 inches long. If you look here, it's actually exactly 24 inches long. And it says 3.94 inches. That's also a little bit off. So it's actually just under 4.5 inches wide, and it's also just under 4.5 inches tall. So if you're thinking about getting it, hopefully that will help you a little bit. So now that I've got the dimensions, I'm gonna go ahead and fit this thing together, and let's go through that real quick. So you actually have to adhesive this waterfall plate cover on. I'm not gonna do that first because I wanna thread this on, and it's gonna be much easier if I thread this on first. I'm gonna take some of this tape here, wrap it around a couple times, and then thread it on. So all I'm gonna do is put this on like this, and I'm no plumber, so any plumbers out there, don't give me too much grief. And that's all I'm gonna do right there. Now this metal will certainly strip out on this right here, which I'm assuming is aluminum. Aluminum you don't wanna go tight on because yeah, you'll strip the threads in it. You just wanna get this snug by hand. So that for me is really tight. Now I've got it kind of facing upwards, which is good because it's gonna help me whenever I go to take the hose off and on. So now when it comes time, what we can do is just take this hose, slide it right over that, and then twist this down to tighten it. I'm not gonna put it on right now because it's just gonna make things more difficult whenever we go to install it. I just want to have it ready. So you can set that to the side for now. Let's take a look at our pump here. Now, we know that these are backup filters for the pump, so we can set those to the side. So this kit comes with a couple of different fittings here, and I assume that's because they probably use this with different size hoses and different size pumps. But with this one in particular, you're not gonna need this big one here or the small one. You want the medium one. Take these to the side, forget about them. There's gonna be a little O-ring you'll see, which is a little rubber ring. Pop that around there. That's gonna help to seal this up better. And basically what this is gonna do is it's gonna sit on top of there. And I'm explaining this because this is the one part that the instructions aren't clear on, but just gotta use your brain a little bit. But that's gonna go on like that. I'm not gonna screw it down all the way. And then this hose, you'll take this clamp, put it over the hose, this butterfly clamp here, and then you've gotta get this to slide down over the top of that. Now, I can't do this with one hand, but it's gonna take a little bit of work. Don't laugh at me, I could not get this thing to go on. So I took just a pin drop of Crisco, rubbed it around the shaft, and this sucker slid right on, no issue whatsoever. I didn't have to fight it at all. If you're having issues, just take a little bit of Crisco. And I'm not talking a glob, just literally a pin drop on the edge of your finger or a Q-tip, and just rub it all the way around 360 degrees around that fitting, and this thing will slide right on, no problem. And then you just want to tighten this down and then tighten your butterfly clamp down. I was looking for something like coconut oil or something a little more organic, but it'll be fine. A pin drop in 1,000 gallons is not going to do anything. And yeah, it'll just keep my impeller lubricated. With these little butterfly band clamps, do not over tighten them. Okay, once it's snug on there, that's all you need. The vacuum from this is going to keep anything from escaping, and that O-ring in there. There's just so much at play here that, you know, this is just really to make sure that the hose doesn't come off the pump. It's not there to keep it from leaking. It's going to be underwater. So don't over tighten those clamps. Even the one going to the waterfall itself, the vacuum will keep it going. Believe it or not, we're actually almost done with setting this up. It's very simple, but I'm gonna go ahead and include this. These are little suction cup feet. I guess they would probably stick to my liner. I'm gonna be putting this pump in this bag, so actually, yeah, I'm not actually gonna put them on there. Anyway, they just slide right in, and I'm not gonna fully put it in, but you can see they have a little groove on them there at the edge of the nipple, and it just slides right in, pops in there. So if you're not using a bag, I like to take some filter floss like I did on that last pump and wrap it around the pump because it helps protect the pump and it gives you a little more biologic filtration. If you're not used to using these little tubes of glue or whatever, they have a little pointy thing in the end, and you can actually take that to puncture it. You just flip the cap over, stick it on like that, and then boom. See, we've now got a perfect little hole there that we punctured the tube. So now, tried to do this with one hand. I was wondering how this was gonna keep from leaking, and this makes much more sense now. So you basically see we're gonna run this all the way down, and you wanna get it around the edges. Don't miss any of it, guys, because you will leak if you don't do this properly. So this is actually a really important step. And that's why I'm gonna stop recording right now so I make sure I do this right. Got that all the way around. I only ended up using 1.5 tubes. Don't leave any gaps on there at all or you're gonna have a leak. So let's go ahead and get this on here. Like I said, it's just going to slide down on there, and then you want to give it good pressure all the way across. Run your hand across it so that it seals up really well. And then on the top, you're going to have some of that glue or silicone come out. What you can do is you can just take a wet paper towel and wipe that off. It should come off no problem if you're worried about that. And we'll give that some time to cure, and that should make a really nice seal on there. You know, if that ever fails, you can go to Home Depot or Walmart, Dollar General, and buy some like all-purpose weatherproof caulk or whatever. It shouldn't take much to keep that thing sealed up if it starts leaking on you. So if you run out of this glue or it fails or something, very easy fix, don't worry about that. But I suspect this stuff kind of looks like black Permatex, almost like a gasket maker, which is really thick stuff. So I'm suspecting that's probably gonna hold up for a long time. We've got a wet paper towel. Just gonna gently wipe that off there. There we go. And that side looks fine. Not even gonna see it at all. Alright guys, it's time to conclude this POPOSOAP pond waterfall box. These plants might not look like much right now, but that frog bit will absolutely take over this thing if I'm not careful. I had to do it with my last pond I had built. I'm liking that we now have flow coming from both directions because that's going to help with the nuisance algae a little bit. And hopefully these rocks also help to hold bacteria, which is going to help keep the algae down as well. Now I've put about 5 comet goldfish back in here, the same ones I had before. And I'm also eventually going to be coming up with a better filtration system because right now the big filter pad I have in there with the filter floss and the bio balls, that's not enough. I cleaned it out and did a little bit of a water change on here. But you know, eventually my plan is to build a deck around this pond. So it looks really kind of tacky right now, but it will look really nice eventually, I hope. So let's talk about the pros of this waterfall, and right now is not really the best representation of it. The first thing is the overall design. Now obviously I did cut out and make my own little wood holder there, but I love the design of it. The lights look really nice already. You know, it's still daylight outside, but that looks really nice. So we give it an A for the design. The flow is okay. It's not meant to be a filter, okay? I'm not sticking any filter floss or anything like that in there. It's literally, it's just a waterfall. It's for decoration and oxygenation for your fish and just to keep the water from being stagnant. And aesthetically, once there's, you know, some kind of a deck wall or something, it'll be higher. It'll look nicer when it's all nice and flush in there. Right now, I've just got it level sitting there. So aesthetically, it's doing what it's supposed to and looks great. But let's talk about the negatives. And the first negative is that even though it has that cool light strip in it, that light strip has a wire that runs around the side right there where I have the line going into the water, into the pump. And that connection is made with an O-ring that is sealing that connection. And if that O-ring were to fail, then, you know, you could have an electrical current, you know, going through your water, potentially killing your fish. Personally, I would have just rather done without the light strip. But since it's wired into the pump, I'm not really entirely sure how I would get rid of that. Now, it's probably okay, and it'll probably be okay for a really long time, but it's one more fault that could happen and I'm more about safety than I am aesthetics, and that makes me a little bit uncomfortable. The second thing is this hose. Now, I told you guys not to tighten up this fitting on the back, this 90-degree fitting, and if you look here, I actually have a really small drip, and it's really small. Now, this is coming from this fitting here. It's not coming from here, but I will need to tighten that and possibly put some more thread tape or some kind of sealant around it. The other thing is this hose. The hose I have running on my other pump feels much more durable. This hose isn't bad, but I can see it tearing or degrading probably quicker than my other hose. But overall, I really love the design of this. I mean, look at how beautiful that is. The waterfall looks absolutely amazing, and when it gets actually built up into the deck, because I am still gonna use it, but I may swap out that hose. It's really great. If I were to do it again, they do sell these water box waterfalls with a deeper setup. And with the deeper setup, you can put a lot more filtration and stuff like that in there. So you could put your filter media, your pads, you know, lava rock, whatever, to help with your bacteria. The deeper box will help with keeping your bacteria colony stronger and bigger and break down all of your excess nutrients that you're gonna get in the water. And you know, I've got 2 tents over this pond, but you know, during bad weather, sometimes I have to close them and then you gotta come back here and open them back up. So you really just want all the filtration you can, and you wanna understock as much as you can. Now, obviously I have 3 bluegill and a couple comet goldfish that are gonna be going in here once I know for sure this time that this thing isn't gonna have any issues. And it's been a couple months, really a couple months extra, that I really wanted to have them out here before now, but I had to make sure that there's just no issues, and I did have an issue, like I said before, where this liner came up. I'm hoping now that that's solved. Ever since I put these bigger rocks in here, it hasn't came up. That is gonna be all for the POPOSOAP pond waterfall box, guys. If you're looking for a pond waterfall box for your pond, you can use the link in the description. I would greatly appreciate it. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. I will see you guys in the next video, whether it's a pond or a reef tank or a regular tank, who knows. Later, guys.